Season opener against Slowy Owls in the inaugural IBHL season. So here's the review. I'm going to try to keep it short. So I know the past reviews have been very heavy. So we'll see if we can shorten it down a little bit. I think today's focus will be more on some red tape, obvious, I guess, issues we could call it, things we can point out. As we know, there are actually quite a few new red tapes that are new and they haven't played in an actual game before. On our side, it is Jamie and Rehan's first game. And for the Slowy Owls, a whole bunch of them is what I've heard. Now here's a fun one right here. We got Timbits style hockey where we all turned into a big amoeba. Let's kind of figure out what went wrong. So one of the things we can do is, I think we may be kind of too focused on kind of staying in our lane. So right here we have Janice, No, and Lena. So right wing, center, and left wing respectively. And they're all kind of cruising up together in one kind of straight line. And I guess Janice starts off in that middle lane to begin with. And Lena is opting to kind of go from left to right. That's not a problem. Totally can do that, but it becomes really awkward when everyone else also stays in the same line. Now, whenever you see a situation like that, it's often encouraged to kind of crisscross paths. So for Dave, one of the things he can do is, rather than so if you see Lena coming in this way, you never want to kind of go parallel with them, or you don't want to be in front of them. You're rather like following the same pathway. So she's coming like this way, you don't want to be in front of them. Now you can be parallel. That's a like if she's coming in this way, you can flow parallel together because you can receive a pass like so, but not really in front. So if you ever see someone coming in towards left to right, you can consider going middle out. So you're almost crisscrossing with each other, and then you'll end up kind of mixing up, and then passing can operate in that manner. Now, same thing with Janice, where if she's coming in this way, either you got to pick up speed and figure out if you can get something over here, or like we said, running parallel. So if she's coming in this way, you can turn out this way, and then eventually, so rather than going straight, if you can just move yourself, so then you end up having a lot of width rather than we end up compressing into a little ball like this. So super awkward. So if we could have someone over here, here, and here, right? You can make use of all that space. And then what happens is, when we're compressed into a ball like this, very easy to defend, right? It just lumps up everyone together. You call it Timbits hockey because everyone just forms into a little amoeba. So that's something we want to avoid. Now, part two is try to, once you get the puck past around the midline, generally speaking, it would be advised to make that decision where, if you're at this red line, get the pass off if you see someone with speed coming into the zone, or something else. But otherwise, you're going to want to try to carry it into the zone yourself, past that blue line, then pass it off. Why? Because oftentimes it's going to be tricky, because once you start receiving a pass in this area, and if you don't make that decision quick, people are going to start to slow down so they don't get offside. And then oftentimes people will actually fumble the puck a lot, and that's where you can get a lot of offsides to happen. So try not to do that. So that's a couple things, and a little bit ping pong action going on right there. Alright, so we're going for a line change here. We see Jamie and Rehan just stepping on the ice right now. Let's watch this whole first shift, kind of see if we can see anything to nitpick on in terms of positioning. So Ernest went in and Jamie stayed back. That's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. In terms of forechecking positioning, I think I'm going to make a separate video. So I won't talk about that. Number 27 coming in with speed, and we're able to recover. So one of the things we can see right here, Rehan's coming back to help out defense because Alex gets caught up trying to intercept the puck, and then Ernest is back there. And generally speaking, if you see one defense with one player, it's generally going to be okay. You don't need to it might be okay to like help out initially, and then but try not to, after that first attempt, you don't want to get caught too deep. We can probably talk that in more detail in the future, but that's kind of just going to be a little rule of thumb. Sometimes it could be broken. There's exceptions to everything, but don't worry about that. Okay. That's fine. The pass just wasn't great. Kathy going in for the forecheck. Oh, just missed the puck there. Not a problem. Wow. Okay. So Jamie's taking it in. Let's see how. Okay. So one of the things, whenever you see, this is going to be a basic formula for everyone, just in general. It's not always going to be like this. Obviously, there's going to be exception to the rule, but in general, you can just think of it. If you don't know what to do, first person with the puck carrying it in, they're going to be the conductor. They get to choose what they want to do, where they want to skate. Now, in general, the first person without the puck coming into the zone wants to get towards the net, make a beeline for it. And so we can say either Kathy or Rehan. Yeah, so one of them, you're just going to have to keep an eye on each other. But generally speaking, it'll be the first one in because they're the closest. But it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of, just pay attention. So one of you guys wants to get right up to the net. So, for example, let's just say Rehan is going to go to the net. And the whole point of that is you're going to get to the net, and you're going to be in a kind of good spot to get rebounds and all that and cause havoc. And the whole kind of point to that, number one, is you're trying to bring at least 1 to 2 defenders. So if anyone's in front of the net, you're probably going to get the attention of 1 to 2 defenders with you, right? And that's automatically going to bring space. It's going to open it up. So if these players start backing up, now we have like little dead areas around here. That's number one. And so if you don't go in there, you can see how they allow players to kind of compress up, and then so the amount of space actually kind of tightens up just because we're not going towards the net. So, and then the third player without the second player without the puck, so the third forward, is going to want to try to stay near the player, and they also want to pay attention to the other player, and ultimately you're going to try to form triangles as much as you can. So if you can think about one player here, so Kathy could be here, she could be here, but ultimately if you can draw a line towards where we want to be, she can, as long as we're forming triangles in some capacity, then it's going to open up passing lanes for everyone. So that's kind of a rule of thumb for everyone. And how does Kathy facilitate that? Not really. And then I guess we're in that kind of zone where if we let Jamie skate in all the way or Red Tape skate in all the way, we're just assuming they're gonna shoot. But it's not a really good habit ultimately as you get better and better, because like an important skill is a play without the puck. And as long as you're generating, like, you're getting good habits and not just kind of staring at them coming in with the puck, and you're helping them out, it's going to be building good habits. So that's one thing there. All right, here's a very common positioning mistake for new players, is how just we stay up at the blue line. Very, very, very common, very common. And generally that's not what you want to do. Number one, very easy to defend. Number two, puts you in a not moving position. So we'll kind of start off with Dave. He passes it off, that's not a problem, right? But then he turns around and gets right up to the blue line, and it's going to be generally a very tough pass to make. And then it's also going to be a tough pass for you guys to receive. So how do we fix this? What should we be doing instead? I generally recommend that you actually skate towards the puck carrier. So right here, if Janice comes out towards the boards and then just starts kind of slowly gliding towards Dave, is going to be a way easier. You don't have to be skating. You could totally just kind of glide, do little C cuts along, and then a pass, and then turn up the ice. That's going to be generally easier, and it also kind of brings it spaces out players. So it's going to be very awkward. We're not awkward. It's very uncomfortable for the D to really push up close to the other team, especially when we have possession, because it kind of puts them in a predicament if someone comes up with speed and blows past them. So one trick is, if you're coming out this way, you're going to bring players towards you naturally, rather than if everyone's up on the line up here. You can see how, wow, it's like a lot of players are nice and close to you, very tough. So naturally, number one, if you're bringing out players, it's going to open up space. And then now number two, if you ask your question, what is easier? How is it easier to receive a pass with your back turned to them or with your body turned towards them? It's easier with your body turned towards them, right? So if you do that, if your body is skating towards the puck carrier, and so that's the same with all of our forwards, then in general it's going to be a much easier pass. And then all you're going to do is receive and then turn, right? That's going to be kind of bare bones basics. Now as you get better, you could totally find space where you're skating, cutting, blah blah blah. That's kind of like down the road as you get better. Don't really worry about that as a red tape. So you move right there. It's a long distance pass, and then the question is it easier if your back is turned or if your body is facing them? So simple question right here is, if Mr. No was skating towards Dave. Could he have received that pass much easier? And once he receives it, just turn up ice? My argument is yes. So here's the pass, face it rather than turning away, and then that's where that happens. And just because Vince says this is a fan favorite, look over here. Banana peel. Ooh, tornado. Alright, so here's another clip. Right, Kathy's in the zone, and she's expecting her forwards to start coming in closer towards the net. So Rohan and Jamie a little bit conservative. Maybe Jamie, like, you can see how very far away from the net. We want a very positioning wise near the net. If you don't really know, let's kind of break it down. There are a couple places that generally speaking you want to be towards. So if the puck ever gets behind the net, I like to generalize. If you can, you know what, let's do a top-down view. If this is a net, and here is the circles, the little hash marks, right? Face-off dot, face-off dot, and the line across. Okay. If the puck's behind the net, we'll do this. Generally speaking, if you can just get in the area right around, so let's draw like this, right? It's going to be a pretty, in general, a pretty decent spot. So in this shaded area. Now if the puck's ever kind of in either side, you can cut that ice in half. So what I just drew is kind of this area. If you're just occupying anywhere in this area, it's going to be generally a pretty decent spot. The same for Jamie, right? If you just go like this, it's going to be generally a pretty good spot. And why? Because you can just bump out a pass from behind the net and you get a pretty good spot to shoot from. Over here, a little bit tougher. It is a good spot, but it's just kind of tough when someone's behind the net. And then as the puck play moves from like a side, you can cut that ice in half and just think of moving yourself and occupying on either half. So like I just said, if you can think about this area, a very nice area in my opinion to be in, and then one person along the boards over here and one person on the sideboards, you can see this little triangle. So those are kind of my gists. So behind the net, it will be in this area, and then if the puck is other than behind the net and is on either side of the ice, and you just cut that ice in half, and you just want to be on the side where the puck is and form little triangles. So one here, one there, and one here. So you can see, like, as Kathy goes over here, if Jamie starts going over here towards the boards, and Rahan, if you just scoot yourself over here, boom, triangle formation, everything's fine and dandy, happy it'd be great. But right here, a little conservative. That's not a problem. It's the first game, but that's kind of like the general area that I would recommend you to be in. So here's a little offside right here. Not a big deal because everyone's still trying to get back on side. Just that Rohan turned it around a little bit too quickly. That's not a big deal, not a problem. Just not enough time for Jamie to get the touch back up onside. So that's our first offside. For those who don't know what an offside is, once the puck is in the zone and comes back out, it's considered offside. So little refresher to keep it simple, the puck needs to cross the blue line before the attacking team can enter the zone. And if you were inside the zone and the puck squirts back out, everyone has to touch at least one skate back on the side. So it doesn't have to be both skates. So you can actually, if you draw a little stick man, you can have one skate on ice and one skate on the other side, and that's considered touching up, and they'll be perfectly fine. And then you just wait for the puck to come back over, and it will be no longer offside. We get our first dangerous chance. Shot on net, ramped up. Oh, big save. And then banana peel. Alright, we're about to get our second offside. And whoopsie daisy. Just caught yourself going a little bit too fast. Now a little trick of the trade, and we've kind of talked about, where as long as you have 1 foot on side, you won't be called offside. So one of the little tricks is, if you ever find yourself having a little bit too much speed, and it's going to be very common, is you can actually, so let's draw it with a lot of ice, space on the ice. So let's say you're coming up like this, and rather than just carrying on your speed into the zone, what you can actually do is curl towards along the blue line, where you have 1 skate on ice onside and 1 skate offside. So here's the little stick figure, a little hockey stick too. So you're going this way, and then you turn 1 foot on the onside and 1 foot offside. So you turn along, and then the moment they pass through, then you can turn in, and you can carry a lot of your speed. You don't have to come to a stop. And so those are one of the little tricks to stay onside rather than kind of stumbling yourself through like that, and that is a offside. We're roasting Kathy for doing all the hard work to get in the slot as a forward to pass it off. This one's actually not that bad. Drops it off to Janice for a shot. But she did it like 3-4 times, and we said, if you're not going to shoot as a forward, we're going to put Alex back up there. And he's been salivating. Alright, defensive coverage. So we can see Rahan's actually a little bit lost, and I think Jamie's also a little bit lost. Let's break it down, keep it simple. Generally speaking, the center is going to be floating through that middle of the ice, and they're going to be acting as a third defenseman. And the role of it, lefty, well, let's just start it all over. Lefty generally is going to be handling the first forward that's in the zone closest to, like, the short side post. Short side just means the puck, like the post closest to the puck. Far side is the post that's furthest away from the post. So if the puck is on left side, our left side in perspective of the goalie, so lefty, they'll be going towards the player with the puck closest to the short side post. And then the center will kind of fill in behind and cover up the player that's closest to this post. And then it's kind of vice versa. If the puck is on the right hand side, the job would be the right D to go onto them. And when it's not, when you're in charge of the far side post, so the right D, it'll just cover up any forward that is closest to that post. Or if the puck carrier kind of gets past the defender, then you kind of help out there. Let's not complicate it too much. The right wing and the left wing is just going to want to stay near the defense. So in this case, Rahan's probably going to want to stay near this player, and then Jamie wants to stay close to this player. Let's kind of watch as it breaks down, and we'll kind of see how. So Rahan goes on the puck here. It's not really your responsibility here anymore. So let Alex, the right D, take care of 27. And then you're going to want to peel off and cover 61. And Jamie's going to be in charge of covering this player right here, actually. So you can see how this defense has snuck in because Jamie has been beat. And really your job is now is just to catch up and pay attention to this player. Let's kind of see, and then you can see how Rehan has been dragged down close to the goal line, and this allows for any easy passes to come up to this defender uncontested. Let's see if that happens. Sort of. And then obviously their D kind of snuck in as well to get a shot off. So taking advantage of some confusion. But generally speaking, that's what you're going to want to think about. The wingers stay close to the D. It's the most simplest form of defense. And I would recommend it to start it off. It's quite simple. And it's easy to kind of get the hang of. Here we have a big stretch pass. Lena! So we were saying number 27 on the Slowy Owls. Pretty decent for a red tape. Definitely on the higher end scale of red tape. Wow, cuts to the middle and drives to the net. So definitely some decent skating abilities there. Him and I think it's her right there. Pretty decent skaters. So showcasing some little highlights there for them. I didn't notice this, but really funny. So Alex gets the puck, and then watch, he wants to double pizza. Oh my goodness. 1, 2. So lucky didn't go through. Like, wow, that is a double pizza. Anyone who doesn't know what a pizza is, so if you draw a cone or a slice of pizza, so you can draw a little triangle coming out from the net. Anytime you have a pass going through the zone, it is risky. And if it's intercepted, you say you're giving them a you gave up a pizza, you give him a slice of pizza, right? You know, nice little pepperoni right in the middle. And he had 2 chances to give out a pizza. Today it was not delivered, but wow, is that risky. Alright, we got a little highlight coming up for Slowy Owls. Try to intercept it, rolled over my blade, and red tape skates it in. So that's their other higher skilled red tape. Let's kind of break down. Interception, bouncy puck, oops, and then let her skate on in. And Cliff's got it. She picks the far side, just a little bit of a hole right there, and goal. So that is the first goal for Slowy Owls, and also apparently the first goal for her, so good for her. And it is now 1-0 for the Slowy Owls. Alright, a couple little notes right here. Obviously, play got slowed down quite a bit, but for Jamie, if you ever get in a spot here, right between the circles, below this line, and even more so if you get closer towards the net, never a bad time to shoot the puck. So you've put on all that hard work to get into this area. Generally speaking, really good area to shoot the puck, and you don't want to kind of pass it out. So that would have been a good spot for you to shoot, but that's not a big deal. Now you can see right here, Kathy's kind of used to my preferences, my teachings, where I said if the puck comes on to one side of the ice, you can cut that ice in half, and in general this area is going to be a really good spot to be in. And then the other player, so Rehan's kind of on that sidewall right there, so Jamie, if you squirt down to the bottom of the boards, you'll form up that nice little triangle, boop boop boop, little Dorito chip right there. Generally is going to be pretty conducive to good passing. Now, what drives me nuts right here is Rahan makes an amazing pass to Kathy. This is a really good spot to shoot, and she doesn't. What? Come on. You're not going to give Rahan that assist? That's, come on, unacceptable. We're gonna have to consider putting Alex back on forward. All right, here's the clip where we gotta roast Dave a little bit. Mr. Dave No pass comes out, and he fires it into the corner. And now we're just roasting a little bit because earlier he had a pretty decent shot right in here. Puck bounces out to Dave, gets a shot, almost 5-hole, but makes a save right there. Ernest with the puck shoots it wide, and then Kathy gets the puck right in the slot. Nobody to contest her. Yeah, I think we're gonna be putting Kathy on D for the rest of the season. We got a big defensive play right here. Stick lift by Dave, pretty good, and then banana peel. And actually, I want to point this out for all red sticks. One mistake, a very common mistake for defense, is oftentimes we don't pay attention to the handedness of the player. So right here, Dave actually does a good job where she is a right-handed player. So if you're back checking, which means you're skating behind them, you want to get on the side that is their forehand, and in this case is going to be the right hand side, and then you can stick lift and then strip the puck. Right now, a big mistake a lot of people do is they're focusing on catching up to the player, right, and not focusing on which side to be on. And the mistake is they catch up, and because, like, let's say they're right-handed and you're on the right hand side, then they lean in trying to get stick on stick, and that's when you get all tangled up, and then two bodies fall into the boards and fall together, and that can be a penalty. So that's a mistake. Here's a highlight of a correct way of doing it, and it's also going to be one of the safest ways to defend as well. So a little clip right there. Here comes Kathy, comes in right in the slot. Oh man, we are definitely gonna be putting her on D. And then she knew the threat was real, and finally she attempts to shoot. Finally. Now here's one surprising thing. So Alex, Mr. 14, was deathly afraid of playing D. And here is something we haven't seen before. Him shooting from distance and scoring. Oh, we didn't know it was possible from this man. He's just playing his way to be permanently on D for the rest of the season. Face-offs, defensive face-offs. We don't know. Here's one thing we don't know how to play. So, generally speaking, how do we want to face off? Line up for a face-off. So obviously center taking that face-off. Basic formation, right D is going to be, like, if it's on the left hand side, so right D is going to be on that edge of the circle, and then right wing is going to be right next to right D. Left D is going to be behind the centerman and the left wing over here. And how it's all going to pan out defensively is right wing is going to go straight towards their left D, left wing towards their right D, center is going to stay on center, left D focusing on their right wing, and then right D focusing on their left wing. And so that's how it's going to kind of naturally pan out. And let's see how it develops. Boom, face off loss, and we want left wing straight to their D, and then Rahan, you're going to want to go straight up to 61. So a little bit late there. We got lucky in the sense that it bounces out, but that's generally what we're gonna want to do for defensive faceoffs. Not to be outdone, Ernest says, I want to try to do a pizza. Risky. And then Mr. Sam gets the puck. He thinks he's clear. He's too eager. He's an eager beaver. Offside. So we get a chance right here. Passing off to Lena. Sam, the absolute villain, says, no way, Jose, is this pass gonna go to a red tape? Not on my watch. What a shame, what a shame. And then we skip ahead. And round 2, the pass to Lena does not connect one more time. So Dave says, you know what? I am going to try to score myself. Skates to the faceoff dots and scores far side. And we got ourselves a heads-up goal. Now 30 seconds left. Attack in the zone. Shot on net. Misses wide. They've pulled the goalie. Puck's loose. Couldn't quite clear it. And then big shot by number 62. Oh my goodness. And they have tied the game. We know it hit like 3-4 bodies, ping-ponging back and forth. Let's do some Sherlock Holmes discovery. Big shot. Big booming shot with heavy traffic at net. We know it hit Janice's arm or leg. And then it ramps up. And then possibly hitting someone else, but definitely hitting this player in front of the net in his chest pad and then his kneecap, and then in. It was pretty wild. It looked like, yeah, it hit like the chest, down, kneecap, and in. It was crazy. So we went here, change direction, chest pad, kneecap on the ice, and bounced in. So that's pretty wild. And they were able to tie it up with a goalie pulled, with heavy traffic in front. And just for curiosity's sake, it was number 26 on their team for the Slowy Owls that scored the goal. Looks like primary assist, probably 62. And I guess 27 as the secondary assist. And that is the tie game, 2-2. And for curiosity's sake, nothing really happens in the last few seconds. And that's game right there in our season opener.